What do you get when you mix rock stardom, local friendship, and historical tradition? A powerful counterforce to government waste and oppression, and a lesson that helps us remember the answer to the silly question statists ask pro-liberty people: without government, who would build the roads? Hi everyone, I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRC-TV. You know, among their many covetous traits, the British governing classes seem to have a thing about roads. Satirical author Douglas Adams spoofed the self-congratulatory stuffed shirts in the opening of his classic, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, as the bureaucrats haughtily celebrated their eminent domain seizure of the protagonist's home to make way for a motorway bypass. Local British farmers and peasants who had established privately run, centuries-old access paths and roads permitting neighborly travel for sale of livestock and goods, engaged in some of the very first tax protests in that nation's history as the Norman-sparked enclosure movement saw royal peers take over the lanes and mandate maintenance fees on the roads. That criminal takeover, by the way, was committed even as the royals grabbed private crop acreage and shifted it to pasture land, a multi-generational offense that led to the Peasants' Revolt in 1381 and to Jake Cade's Rebellion in 1450, and even saw Thomas More criticize it in Utopia, published in 1516. So the obnoxious retort from government boosters who blast, "But who will build the roads?" when confronted with libertarian arguments against government-run byways is not only ahistorical, it's downright ignorant of history, even as it dismisses the multitudes who fought for their local traditions. And it flies in the face of the new wrinkle in the tale. A tale of a rock superstar who, like his neighbors, has had enough of the poorly run government roads and, like his ancestors in Scotland, has taken the rebellious, self-motivated initiative to fix them himself. He's Rod Stewart, who was knighted in 2016 and who appears to be doing heroic deeds for his neighbors, spending extra cash and putting his 77-year-old back into handling something that the tax-thieving government says it alone must maintain. On March 11th, Stewart posted an Instagram clip of himself and his friends shoveling gravel and clay into enormous potholes along a dirt road in his hometown of Harlow, Essex. Singing and looking like he's having a really good time of it, Rod the Bod, as he was once called, mentioned that no one in the government could be bothered to do it. So he and his mates were, as Bachman Turner Overdrive might have said, taking care of business. He wrote on Instagram, quote, "Working for a living. Filling holes is good for the soul." To which Rolling Stone's Ronnie Wood, a former bandmate of Stewart in both the Jeff Beck group and the Faces, and by the way, that's a project that Wood and Stewart have reignited just over the past year, which is over there, to create new music. That was something to which Mr. Wood replied, "Bravo, Rod." But some local officials weren't quite as enthusiastic as Rod's friends and neighbors. In the tradition of the old feudal occupiers, Essex County Council cabinet member Lee Scott shot a few words across Stewart's proverbial bow, warning others who might also try to do what locals used to do in England way back in time, to watch out. Quote, "You can't take matters into your own hands. People must always report potholes to the council, and we will fix anything that's dangerous." But Stewart's sentiment has spread over the past week and likely typifies what many, not only in Essex County, but around the world, see as the government use of force to make them pay. And then to see the agents of government claim said money extraction is for the citizens' own good, and then realize that the whole setup is a giant sham. Said Rod, as quoted by the BBC, "People are bashing their cars up. The other day there was an ambulance with a burst tire. My Ferrari can't go through here at all." End quote. So the question isn't who will build the roads. That's a consequentialist question that assumes for others how their earnings should be spent and to what amount. It also assumes, first, that everyone desires or benefits from the roads that the winning political faction wants to build, of course at high cost, and then likely they will poorly maintain them. And it assumes, second, that people can't handle their own needs via voluntary association and commercial incentives. If one reflexively holds on to the unicorn of only government can build and maintain roads because private industry just won't do it, then how do shopping mall parking lots and entryways get built? And why are they maintained better than public roads? What about private driveways? I mean, if people are just too daft and incapable of creating and handling the streets leading to the driveways, how about the government also build their driveways and the steps leading to everybody's front doors? As Thomas DiLorenzo has noted in his excellent book, How Capitalism Saved America, private industry and commercial incentives prompted vast networks of privately made and maintained roads for decades in early America. That's how Toll House cookies started, when a couple created them along an old 18th century toll road in Massachusetts. Indeed, even as recently as 2014, a Bath, England area Brit named Mike Watts made waves as he opened the first private UK toll road in a century. And in 2014, Matthew McCaffrey noted for the Mises Institute, quote, "The basic story is as follows. After a local motorway was destroyed last February by a landslide, Watts and his wife put their life savings into building a small access road that allowed drivers to avoid a costly detour. The toll road was an instant success, and Watts started to recoup his money by charging £2 per vehicle. Out of goodwill, he also allowed many free riders to use the road, including 2 emergency vehicles. However, his success quickly attracted the attention of local government, which immediately set about trying to undermine the venture." End quote. They did. They shut him down. And all those who enjoyed what he provided were deprived of something they voluntarily showed they liked, even as the government deprived them of their money in order to pay for shutting it all down. What? Listen, it's not about who will build the roads. It's about ethics. It's about mafia-like claims of power. Practically, we can see that local people will handle the roads for the sake of local neighborliness and commerce. Ancient history, the Mike Watts story, and now Rod Stewart show us that. The real question, of which this news about Sir Rod Stewart reminds us, is this: who has the right to his own earnings and to decide for himself what he wants to do with them? If we hold on to that moral principle of leaving our neighbors to live and keep their earnings unmolested, the positive, practical outcomes follow. Peace begets prosperity. But government, even that which claims control over the simple matter, supposedly, of road building, it's not peaceful. And Rod Stewart reminds us of the difference. Hey, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Hope you liked this little exploration into rock stardom and British and sort of American history. And please visit MRCTV.org to find out what the whole team is working on. You can find us on Rumble, where we are not censored. You can also find us on YouTube, where we've been blocked for a little bit. We'll be back there very, very soon. Find us on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and Twitter. And if you want to find me, I am on Twitter at Gard Goldsmith and on Gab at Gardner Goldsmith. For MRC TV, I am said Gardner Goldsmith.